Great Getaways. On today's show, we're going to be taking you to Grey County, Ontario to look at one of the most timeless elements in nature, and that is the waterfall. I'm with Brian Plumstead right now. Brian is the tourism coordinator here in Grey County, and Brian, I know we've got a great show for these people. Going to be looking at some of the waterfalls. Tell us a little bit about what there is.
Sure. Well, we're starting off at our first waterfall just north of Owen Sound, Indian Falls. So behind us we see the Indian River, and we'll be checking out the waterfalls shortly. Then we'll head on to Jones Falls, just a little south of here, and Inglis Falls, so all three of them within Owen Sound. Then on to Walters Falls tonight, we'll have some dinner there, and then on down to Eugenia, Hogs, and finally McGowan Falls down near Durham.
Okay, and I know everybody loves waterfalls, so you're going to love this show. Let's get it going.
Production of Great Getaways is made possible by Rocky's Great Outdoors, located in Burton, Michigan. Rocky's carries a complete line of motorcycles, snowmobile, camping, and hiking gear, including canoes and kayaks. State Building Company, serving mid-Michigan for over 50 years, with quality windows, insulation, roofing, and siding, including complete residential and commercial remodeling.
Awaken your spirit with an unforgettable summer adventure in the land of waterfalls. We'll start today's show in Owen Sound, Ontario, where our trip will take us to 8 waterfalls spread out across Grey County's countryside. The soothing sounds of water cascading over the limestone embankments make this a relaxing and scenic trip. From the top of the rugged Niagara escarpment, we'll see breathtaking vistas of the valleys and farms below. Along the way, we'll visit quaint towns, scenic roadside parks, and enjoy a gourmet dinner as we overlook one of the beautiful waterfalls. To get a better understanding of the area, we met with Brian at his office in the city of Owen Sound at the Grey Roots Museum and Archives. The building also houses Grey County tourism, where you'll find maps, brochures, and other travel information with plenty of knowledgeable, friendly people to help point you in the right direction. We met with Petal Furness, interpretation coordinator for the museum, who told us more about Grey Roots and the history of the area.
So we house all of the cultural attractions as well as the natural attractions. So you can come to Grey Roots and find out all about our 7 waterfalls. You can see our indoor waterfall, but you can learn about the history of Grey County as well.
Tell us a little bit about the displays people would see when they came in here.
Well, we have a lot of exhibits that like the Grey County Gallery, exhibits that stay over time, but we have lots of traveling exhibits. In the summer, we always have a fantastic, we call it our blockbuster summer exhibit. This year we have something called the Robot Zoo. We also have a great state-of-the-art theater that seats 75 people, and we show films continuously, as well as we call them fun flicks in the afternoon for families. We have kids camp here. We have, you can see behind me, the European Bakery Cafe, so you can have something to eat. And we also have nice bathrooms, large bathrooms, suitable for buses if buses want to stop in. We have 6 galleries here. So one of the galleries is the Grey County Gallery. We have the Foyer Gallery, and right now we have our From Slavery to Freedom exhibit in there, and that talks about our Black history. We have in the 5th gallery the L'Chaim exhibit, which is Hebrew, it means to life, and it's about the Beth Ezekiel Synagogue, or the Jewish community that's in Grey County. And in behind that is the Nels Mahar print shop, and that's one of the exhibits that will be moved out to a building in the village when it gets constructed, and it talks about printing.
Moving outside the main building is the Heritage Village. This replica village includes 7 historical period buildings on site, with 10 more buildings and a train coming over the next few years. A schoolhouse, barn, stable, and old gas station can be toured, but by far the one that impressed us was the blacksmith shop. A blacksmith was on hand to stoke the fire and demonstrate how the iron was formed into tools and other equipment. Just a short drive from Grey Roots is Harrison Park, Owen Sound's premier family park.
Brian, we haven't even left Owen Sound yet, and we are already at one of the waterfalls. Now, this is actually what you call the newest waterfall on your tour. We're right here in Harrison Park.
Yes.
And this is, well, why don't you tell me?
Sure, this is Weavers Creek that's running by us, and of course the waterfalls at Weavers Creek. And it's right within Harrison Park, right close to downtown Owen Sound. Only takes a couple minutes to get here from downtown. It's about a 5-minute walk to the falls here. So it's a beautiful natural site, but right in the middle of Owen Sound.
Situated on the picturesque Sydenham River, Harrison Park is an assortment of lush green space, hiking trails, walking paths, and 100-year-old trees. Hidden in the abundant woods of Harrison Park is Grey County's newest addition to its waterfall tour, Beaver Falls. Hidden behind the park swimming pool is a trailhead that leads down a narrow, picturesque path that meanders along Beaver Creek to the base of the falls. This beautiful pathway has benches along the way for relaxing and enjoying this peaceful setting.
Brian, this park is just amazing, and the further we get into it, the more I see. I really like the creek. Now, we were just up on Weaver Creek and seeing the waterfall, and yet the creek comes down, then meanders through the park itself. There's all kinds of waterfowl that are out here swimming around, great for the kids.
Absolutely.
But another nice thing in this is a little inn down here. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. Well, the Harrison Park Inn has been here for many years, I think at least 40 to 60 years.
Wow.
And they have a great menu. They serve a lot of bus tours, but they're also open for families and couples coming through. So great menu, good food, and yeah, right here in the middle of the park. So you can go up, take your hike to the waterfall, come back down, have a lovely lunch or dinner.
That's a really good way to do it too, because you do get out on these hikes and you're going back to these waterfalls, you got to work up a little bit of an appetite. Absolutely. And along the way, we're going to point out some of these restaurants too that you can go to along the way and stop in and have a little bite.
Well, let's go for some lunch.
I could do that.
Leaving Harrison Park and Beaver Falls behind, it would only be a short distance to our next stop at Inglis Falls. The entrance is found on Gray Road 18, just a few miles southeast of the park. Inglis Falls forms where the Sydenham River cascades over the limestone shelves of the Niagara Escarpment. This 18-meter cliff viewed from any angle gives a panorama of rock, water, and rural scapes that are truly spectacular in any season. As with many rivers found throughout this region, the water was put to good use for power for a grist mill. In 1843, a mill was built here where it produced flour, bran, and shorts for over 100 years, eventually being destroyed by fire in 1945. Remnants of the 19th century grist mill are reminders of the power of this falling water, as well as the Inglis family who operated the mill for 87 years. We met with Krista McGee, Community Relations Coordinator for the Gray Sauble Conservation Area, who showed us around.
Krista has brought us out, and we're actually out into the woods now. We're on the rock escarpment that runs through here, and yet we're finding these strange looking holes down here that actually kind of look like they've been carved out. What is this all about?
Well, they say about 600 million years ago, when the land was completely covered with water, there were whirlpools that were circulating very quickly, and it had little pieces of rock and sand, and it carved these perfectly circular holes into the limestone.
Well, that's kind of interesting,
yeah,
isn't
it?
Now, we have passed a couple others. Are there a lot of them in this area then?
No, actually there's only about 4 of them.
Well, as we're walking along the trail, we were looking at a lot of the different plants that are out here, and there's a variety of ferns that are found here, but there's one that's really unique to everything else. So tell us a little bit about it.
The hart's tongue fern is very unique to this area, and you will actually only find it in Gray County. There's over 21 species of ferns at the Inglis Falls Conservation Area, and they actually thrive on the limestone. So it's something you won't see anywhere else in the world. This is very unique to this area.
As we were surveying the falls, we met with a Michigan couple, Patty and Roger Gillespie of Clarkston, Michigan, who gave us their views on the falls.
We're here at Inglis Falls right now on the waterfall tour, and we just happened to run into some people that are from our neck of the woods. We're with Roger and Patty Gillespie, and they're from Clarkston, Michigan, just south of us. And we're over here, and what are you guys doing here?
We're on vacation. We came to see the waterfalls.
So, how many have you visited so far? Are you going on the whole tour?
We might omit one. And aside from that, we've hit them all so far.
Okay, and how have you found them so far? How have you found being over here and doing this whole thing?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Are you well taken care of when you come in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is this your first time into the area then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I noticed when you guys were up at the car, you had your nice walking staffs, and you had several emblems on there. You obviously are doing a lot of hiking.
Right. And this has turned out to be a very, very nice area to do some hiking. It's got some good, well-marked trails, and it's got some areas that are just absolutely phenomenal to see and to walk through.
You know, I know traveling from Michigan myself, a lot of people are a little bit concerned when they come across the border. Let me ask you, having never met you before, what's it like for you when you come across?
It really was no problem. We both have passports, which at this point is still optional. That may change in the future. But basically, going over the border was very, very easy. It was easy to get here, and it's relatively easy to get around. Everything was well marked.
The town of Owen Sound is surrounded with a rugged terrain ideal for waterfalls, and several can be found near the city. From Inglis Falls, we move north a few miles to the Potawatomi Conservation Area in Jones Falls. Seen from the Bruce Trail or glimpsed from Highway 21 heading west from Owen Sound, Jones Falls cascades 12 meters over the Niagara Escarpment. A 1-kilometer walking trail leads through the Potawatomi Conservation Area to the falls. From the entrance on Highway 6, there is a parking area and tourist information center. The trailhead starts behind the building. Following the pathway along the Potawatomi River is an impressive experience. With the cedar trees virtually growing out of solid rock and the river cutting a course through the limestone, this is another spot that offers year-round splendor for photographers. The trail leads you through a cedar forest filled with ferns and wildflowers, across a footbridge to the top of the falls. Here Brian and I talked more about the falls.
Now, I gotta tell you, Brian, I'm surprised here because we came down this little meandering creek and I didn't expect this kind of a waterfall back here. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is a nice fall down here.
Yes, well, it's a nice surprise after the trail. You come in, and it's the Potawatomi River. This is a cascade type waterfall. You see how it comes down in steps? So
yes.
The rock is broken off, creates a very nice cascade. So
it's a great area back in here. We've got a lot of the rock cliffs you can see going up on either side, and as we were coming back, something you might want to be aware of, coming down the trail there are a lot of rocks and roots sticking out, and I have trouble walking and talking at the same time, so I tripped a few times coming back, but I did make it. But watch yourself coming back here, and watch yourself as you get along here too. This just drops off. There's not fences or anything here.
yeah, no, this is a natural area, as many of the waterfalls are, so wear appropriate footwear, and for your own protection, be careful around the edges. It's a natural area. There's one waterfall in Grey County, we'll see a little later, that actually the water course is still used to generate electricity.
Oh.
And some of the earlier waterfalls in Grey County had former electrical generating stations, but today there's just one. So
okay.
Yeah, most of them are pristine natural sites like we see
Just
today.
like this one. That's beautiful.
Well, it was time to head to our next stop, and like the other waterfalls, this one was close by. Indian Falls is located just outside the northwestern edge of Owen Sound. We met with Chris Hachi, Land Management Coordinator for Indian Falls Conservation Area. He would act as our guide and give us more insight to the area. It was a bright and sunny day when we arrived here at the falls. The temperature has soared near 90 degrees and we were glad to be in the shade of the forest and so near the coolness of Indian Creek. At the summit of the gorge, the river can be seen sparkling through the cedar forest below. Chris told us more about our surroundings.
Chris, why don't you give us an idea of what we're going to be going back here to see?
Well, we're going to be climbing up a little bit of a hill today. We're going to be just getting over top of the, just on top of the Niagara Escarpment, and going to see a beautiful Bridal Veil Falls here right at the Indian River.
Now, what do you mean by Bridal Veil?
Bridal Veil Falls is that where we get the hard limestone on top, and then the river actually comes right over the hard limestone and then starts to erode away some of the soft limestone. So it's actually like a mini Niagara Falls situation that we have up here.
The trail continues through the woods a short distance before breaking out on a bluff overlooking the falls. From here you can see the horseshoe-shaped falls drop into a quiet pool before Indian Creek flows on to empty into Owen Sound Bay.
As we're approaching closer to Indian Falls, we're coming into a cedar forest, some poplars, so the soils are getting very thin. The rock is protruding right to the surface, so we're definitely walking into a different environment, very shady, but right on the edge of the falls, so it should be nice today.
The main natural feature of this site is the horseshoe-shaped waterfall, named after the Nawash Indian tribe who lived here in this area at one time. Almost 9 meters across and 15 meters high, the falls were formed by the erosion of the soft Queenston shale beneath the hard Manitoulin dolomite in a manner similar to Niagara Falls.
And you can actually see a red color in the rock, so we have some red iron oxide actually in the rock down below.
Don't forget your camera. Photo opportunities can be found from several angles. With the day moving on, we decided to make our final stop at Walters Falls, where we would not only see the falls, but also eat dinner and stay the night at the Falls Inn. Walters Falls is located 30 minutes south of Owen Sound on Highway 29. Along the way, we would pass through the Big Head River Valley, an area known for its scenic beauty. As you drop down into the valley, the farmland can be seen spreading out across the hilly countryside. This was a place to stop for a picture of the gently rolling landscape. Well, it was hard to pull ourselves away, but we still had one more waterfall to see before dinner. Fortunately, they were found together along Walters Creek in the town of, what else, Walters Falls. Although this waterfall is on private property, there is a viewing platform where Walters Creek plunges 14 meters into the heart of the village.
This is kind of a nice place here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, this is Walters Falls. It's the only twin waterfall in Ontario. So there's two streams of water that fall, and it's about 8 meters in height. So a good, fairly good, impressive flow. And of course, just upstream is the Walters Falls Milling Company. So it's the only feed mill that's run by water power left in Ontario. So
oh, is that right? That is interesting.
It is our only waterfall that's on privately owned land.
Okay.
So the Hallman family owns it, and they've built a wonderful inn right behind us. So
I was going to say, that is one of the nice things about it, because it looks like those rooms up there overlook the falls.
Yes. We'll go in and meet Dwayne Hallman, who's the innkeeper, and he can tell us all about the Walters Falls Inn. It's here right beside the waterfall.
This location is now home to a new inn called the Falls Inn. We talked with innkeeper Dwayne Hallman about the new inn that he and his wife Meg own.
You know, we came in here to look at a waterfall. You've got this beautiful inn that sits right next to it, and it's just an amazing place. I kind of wonder sometimes what it was like to build. I know we've got a lot of rock around here. What was it like to build a place like this here?
Well, it was originally sawmill property, which we have tried to keep that theme throughout the inn during construction as well. So as on top of the rock, it's also taken a pounding from the machinery that used to operate on the grounds as well. Well, there are 15 guest rooms altogether here at the inn. Each one is luxury appointed. All of the beds have cushion top mattresses with 400 thread count Egyptian cotton sheets. They all have private bathrooms, heated tile floors in the winter, separate tub and showers, and of course the main feature is a private balcony in every room that overlooks the falls.
In the dining room, we could look out to see the falls while we enjoyed a gourmet dinner. There were soups and salads to steamed mussels for starters, followed by a large choice of entrees. It was a dinner we would remember for a long time. The next 3 falls that we would visit are found south of Walters Falls. Hoggs Falls and Eugenia Falls can be found near the town of Fletcherton, while McGowan Falls is in the town of Durham. The 25-kilometer drive south would take us through the scenic countryside, where we stopped along Gray Road 7 at the Epping Lookout Conservation Area overlooking the Beaver Valley. Serene and beautiful, the valley stretched out below us, offering a dramatic view in all directions. Far across its width loomed the Blue Mountains. The Beaver Valley splendor should never be hurried, and this 5-hectare park with its picnic facilities invites the visitors to stay a while. Perhaps it's the contrast of the gentle tree-lined river and the patchwork of pastures and orchards set against the stark cliffs of the escarpment that make this panorama so compelling. But it is a breathtaking vista, and there's nothing else quite like it. On site, you'll find a historical plaque dedicated to the American naturalist John Muir, picnic shelters, privies, drinking water, and a parking area that can accommodate buses. Taking County Road 13 south to the town of Eugenia, the entrance to the park is located diagonally across from Eugenia Falls Emporium. The Emporium is a must-stop for travelers who are looking for food, refreshments, or gifts. In fact, we decided to take a break and have a little lunch. Fueled up and ready to go, we headed across the street to the parking area and trailhead for Eugenia Falls.
Well, Brian, we got talking earlier about people asking you after you've seen these falls, which one is your favorite one? And I got to tell you, I don't know if I can actually say the favorite, but it's got to be right up there in the top. This is absolutely gorgeous here with these rock walls coming down the way they are and dropping down. Beautiful double fall back in there, and tremendous, tremendous. Eugenia Falls?
Yes, we're in Eugenia, and this is Eugenia Falls.
Okay.
It's our highest waterfall at 98 feet, about 30 meters, and it's one of the highest in Ontario as well. So very significant. Not usually a lot of water, but a very dramatic setting. As you pointed out, the valley is just spectacular, and the scenery's half the fun here.
Now, oftentimes as we've been looking at these falls, they're being named after people. Is this the same way?
It is. It's named after the Empress Eugenie, which was a consort of Napoleon III. It was actually named, this area was surveyed in the late 1940s, and an ex-French soldier was on the survey party, and he thought it should be named Eugenia after the Empress Eugenie.
Okay. Eugenia Lake is nearby here too, isn't it?
It is.
And
yeah.
this is where the water is flowing from then?
Yes, this is the Beaver River. It flows down from Lake Eugenia and over the falls.
I noticed too, they've really got it fixed up nice. We've got a little retaining wall here, which is real nice because I'm telling you what, it drops over the side and it actually starts right at the precipice of the falls themselves and then works its way down. So you can get different views like we're doing right now. So just a tremendous area to come into.
The trail follows the escarpment for a short distance before looping back to the starting point. Our next stop is considered one of Grey County's best-kept secrets. Hoggs Falls are tucked away a mere 2-minute walk from the Lower Valley Road near Fletcherton. Named for William Hogg, the waters of the Boyne River tumble 7 meters into this woodland setting.
You mentioned your favorite was maybe Eugenia. It was so dramatic. I think this is maybe my favorite. A little bit shorter. It's not such a big drop, but lots of water. Very intimate waterfall. You can get up very close to it, take a great look at it, and it's a plunge waterfall, so the water falls straight to the bottom.
Ah, yes, and nice little creek along here. You know what, though? I seen some pilings or something up river from here. What was that about?
That was an old sawmill here back in the 1880s. William Boyne formed it. He came up from Toronto, started a sawmill here, ran for about 10 years and then burned. That seems to happen to so many buildings back then. So short period, but it's been a natural state ever since then.
Okay, and it's beautiful, and it shows that natural state right here. Another thing I want to bring up is we're coming along the road, and you got some great signage that's going on out here. Are you signing all your waterfalls now?
Yes, we have signage to bring you right into the waterfalls, and there's now a nice little parking lot here.
I noticed that.
Municipality put that in, so we got some facilities. But still, we recommend bringing your hiking shoes. It is a rough trail.
Leaving Hoggs Falls behind, we turned west on Grey Road 4 for about a 20-minute drive to the town of Durham. The conservation area is located at the north end of Durham on top of the hill. The Durham Conservation Area is situated in an ideal location, nestled along the picturesque stretch of the winding Saugeen River. Scenic McGowan Falls is one of the highlights of this beautiful park. It was a hot summer day and many people were taking advantage of the falls to cool off. A wide variety of activities can be enjoyed year-round within the park by both campers and day users.
We're here, and we've got Shannon Wood, Public Relations from Saugeen Conservation, to tell us what's going on here at McGowan Falls.
Well, we got it in the background here. Why don't you tell us how this whole thing came together?
Well, it's a beautiful falls, as you can see in the background, and it was named after Robert McGowan, who used to own the falls. And of course, at one time along this river, as well as many other rivers, there were a number of mills and dams and that kind of thing. So this one was left over. It was operated, of course, with a number of mills and then as hydroelectricity to the area. And then it was just left. It was plagued with fires and floods like a lot of the mills are in these historic places. And then in the early 60s, then the Conservation Authority took it over, rebuilt it, and here we see it today. This is all part of Durham Conservation Area, which was one of our first camping parks. We set this one up in the early 60s, and it's very popular. It's got over 200 sites, and it's great. It's right here on the Saugeen River. You can come to McGowan Falls, you can swim in the water, as you can see behind us. So it's very popular for that reason, and it's a real attraction for this area.
Okay, well, what do you say we take a walk around, maybe look at more of the park?
Good idea.
All right.
There's so much to see and do here, it's hard to decide where to start. Hopefully we have solved that problem for you. On our website, we have put together a travel planner of today's show. It includes video clips, links for more information, maps, information on the items to take along, and even how much time you should allow for each adventure.
Well, Brian, we had a wonderful time here in Grey County. Niagara Escarpment is such a beautiful area, and with all these great waterfalls that are there, and of course the beautiful inns and the small towns, it's just a very nice place for people to come and visit. But what about getting more information on it?
Sure. Well, you can call the number on your screen, and we'll send you our Grey County Experience Guide, which contains a full description of the waterfalls, how to get there. We also have maps of the tour, and a full map of all of Grey Bruce with all the roads in our counties and all the other attractions and neat things to see and do.
Okay, or you can go to our website at greatgetaways.tv and find out a lot more information too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on another Great Getaway.
Production of Great Getaways is made possible by Rocky's Great Outdoors. Located in Burton, Michigan, Rocky's carries a complete line of motorcycles, snowmobile, camping, and hiking gear, including canoes and kayaks. State Building Company, serving Mid-Michigan for over 50 years, with quality windows, insulation, roofing, and siding, including complete residential and commercial remodeling. Forward Corporation, operating over 30 complete convenience centers, motels, and restaurants across Northeast Michigan.